Today on Breaking Bullying, we're talking about what bullying really looks like for young people right now. We'll get into it after I hit this music. Joining me this week, I have three young people who are going to share their experiences on what bullying looks like for them. Joining me is writer and director Trinity Fraser and voice actor. He's also the voice of Miles Morales on Disney's Spidey and His Amazing Friends, Jakari Fraser, and Emmy-nominated actor and voiceover actor Terrence Little Gardenhigh. Guys and gals, thank you so much for coming on today.
Of course. Glad to be here.
You guys are actually my youngest guest I've ever had on this podcast. So the big question is, what is bullying like for you guys these days?
I'll take up the question. For me, I would say, obviously, bullying comes in many ways. But for me personally, I've experienced it mostly in video games. I feel like that's one of the most popular ways it can happen. If I'm playing the game, somebody may not like how the way of the game is going, and it just turns chaotic really quick. They might all turn on you, or they all might turn on one of your friends that you're playing with, and you might have to stop that to happen. Well, stop that from happening and remove yourself or defend yourself, I would say.
I totally get that. Trinity, how about you? What do you experience?
Well, personally for me, a lot of online bullying goes on because sometimes people don't like to say stuff to your face. Um, but
The keyboard warriors.
The keyboard.
Yeah.
Keyboard warriors, right?
Personally, I've experienced it when it's like when I was younger, I used to have a lot of edit accounts or I'd make funny videos on TikTok, and then people would comment rude stuff, and I would just be like, okay, that's weird. I'm just having fun. And then most of the time, my followers who liked my content, they would back me up. So I felt very supported by my community at that.
And Terrence, how about you? What do you
Yeah.
experience?
Well, as of now, I would say the majority of the bullying would most definitely come from social media. Car, you definitely brought up a good point with the video games, though. I didn't even think about that until now. But yes, social media, most definitely. Especially, whenever you have something to present to the world, people are always going to have opinions. They're always going to have something to say. And, I'm thankful and grateful that most times it's nice, but you get those few that are not.
Yeah. So mostly, at least for you guys are experiencing it more online rather than like an in-person, person-to-person type bullying. It's mostly a lot of social media type stuff, correct?
Yeah, I'd
Yes.
say so.
Yeah. How do you guys handle that? Because it's not like they're in person where you could, talk back, say, hey, I don't appreciate that, man. They can't see your emotions. It's all online. We can't see that. And online, it's 24/7. There's never a break from it because we're all connected these days. So how do you guys deal with this?
Well, honestly, I deal with it the same way that I have since the beginning. If I'm being truly honest, for me, it's never really bothered me too much. I know a lot of hate comments that I used to get, I sometimes found funny because it's like, some people get really creative, and it's like you're taking that time, out of your day to say something negative to me about something that I had a part in creating. And at the end of the day, it's not like they know me personally, It's not like they can call my phone. They don't know my character. They don't know what type of person I am. So I just don't let it get to me. I don't.
Well, what was it like though, receiving your first negative comment though? What was that like for you? Were you shocked? Were you expecting something like that to happen?
Still, I guess I was shocked, but I wasn't more so shocked that people were saying negative things because it's like I've heard negative things before to my face at that. But I was more shocked at just anybody saying anything at all because I was very new to the industry and things of that nature. So I wasn't used to those things. So yeah, I would say surprised. Surprised, and
Okay.
I found it a little humorous. I still remember the comment till this day.
Gosh.
How about Jakari or Trinity? What was your guys's first?
I would say kind of piggybacking off of what Terrence said, it can be very humorous sometimes, like he said with the creativity. But one way I would like to deal with it is just, stepping away. That's the best way to go about it sometimes. Whatever they're saying about me, if most times out of 10, if I respond, it's just going to give them an even worse image of what they're
Yeah.
already saying that may not be true or is not true. So, just sometimes just stepping away, not upping the challenge. That's what I would say.
When you step away, how do you keep your mind going back to that comment in your head? Like what do you focus on, or what do you do so you can truly step away?
Yeah, that's an amazing question because along with stepping away, you do need an outlet. If it does infuriate you, even if you do step away, then you need an outlet for that. What do you do having fun? Do you read comics? Do you indulge in a physical activity that may take your mind off of it? I know, well, from my personal experience, playing basketball is one of the easiest ways to get something off my chest, just hoop it out.
Yeah.
And if it's something subtle, I might just play the game with my friends. That'll always lighten my mood, or hang out with my family. That's one of the best ways I deal with it, to be honest.
Trinity, as a writer and director, how do you handle that type of feedback?
I handle it from a creator's perspective, and ultimately, they're just trying to help me and, because what I want to do is put out what people, like, want to see
Yeah.
on the big screen, and I like having that feedback because not everybody's always gonna tell you that it's amazing, especially if you, like, release a movie. Like, I could think that the movie is amazing, and then another person could be like, "Oh, I didn't like that movie at all, it was terrible." So, either way, people are always gonna have opinion about what you put out and what you do.
How did you get into that mindset though? Were you taught that before, or how do you get into that mindset like, okay, not everyone's going to like what I put out there?
It also comes from acting because you get a lot
Okay.
of rejection in the industry and a lot of "You're good, but, like, not good enough," you know? And yeah, that's pretty much.
Staying confident could probably be, could probably be is one of the hardest things to do sometimes, especially as young kids, even young kids with the jobs you guys have.
Yeah.
How do you still manage to stay confident when you have a group of people who could just be jealous and they try to take you down? Like, have you guys experienced jealousy at all
Yes.
from the
Or
work that you guys done?
from my personal experience, I it is a little weird for me because sometimes I can't pinpoint out what jealousy really is because I'm not a jealous person, and it would never really show. That's always an emotion I toss to the side because it's not a good one to feel. Envy will always deprive you of what, it will always make you seem deprived of what is already fulfilling you with happiness. That's my personal opinion on it. But staying confident, I would say, mostly comes from really knowing your abilities.
Mm.
Because obviously, a group of jealous people might try to tear you down and say that you're less than, or, their talent might be better than yours. However, confidence comes from, those times that you did book, coming from those times that you did book the rooms, coming from those times where you had an amazing experience after recording a self tape and you felt good about it, you felt all your decisions were strong. And that confidence comes from all the well experiences that you had in the industry and knowing that those are still inside you.
How about you, Terrence? Any experience any of that jealousy from other kids?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
That's something that is, I'm not gonna say impossible because nothing is impossible, but it's very hard to not experience, you know?
Yeah.
You're gonna have people, whoever it may be. It could be random people, it could be people who you thought were your friends, you know what I mean? But as far as confidence is concerned, Imma have to piggyback off of what Jakari said, and really, you just gotta, at the end of the day, you have to know, like, if you're putting in the work, right? You're putting in the work, the hours, you're working on your craft, you're doing what you gotta do, you'll have confidence in your work because you know that you spent the proper amount of time, much time as you possibly could, working on yourself and doing what you need to do. And also, like you said, the positive experience from the industries. And you gotta, a lot of times, confidence comes from remembering the good things that happen. Always
Yeah.
being able to find the positive. That's how I
Yes.
keep confidence up.
Trinity, how about you? Have you experienced any jealousy?
Yes, 100%. It could really sometimes a lot of the times, it can be your friends, and you're like, "Oh, they said that," and then you don't even realize that it was jealousy the whole time. You're like sometimes you could be like, "Oh, maybe they're right," but also, like, no, they're wrong because half the time you'll be doing something and they'll be like, "Oh, you're not good at that," or blah, 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 but they can't do it.
So
So, you know,
that's pretty interesting because you're saying you're friends. Like, how how do you recognize that jealousy coming from a friend? Because from friends, you rely on them from support. And how do you know when it's like, okay, they're not really supporting me anymore? They're jealous. They're maybe trying to knock me down a few pegs. Like, how do you like? What's a red flag you see in a friend that could be jealous of you?
how I identify it is the comparison. If I can do something and I'm really good at it, or maybe we'll be in like the same thing, like say we're in the same dance class or something. We're doing the same thing, but I might be in a higher level than them. And then they'll be like, "Oh, you're so bad at that. You can't do turns or whatever." But like they're the ones who can't even do anything. So it's also like really like reflecting, you know?
Yeah. So
Also, if possible, I like to just say one more thing as far as that's concerned. Jealousy, at least what I've experienced, jealousy is oftentimes the confirmation that you're doing something right. When people are jealous of you, that means you're on the path to victory. Also, another thing as far as not confirmation, sorry, confidence is concerned, having a good village is like the foundation of confidence. People who really do love you, people who really do want the best for you, people who want to see you shine and don't want to dwindle your light. So family, for instance, my family, Jakari, Trinity, my uncle, my auntie, like it's keeping that is definitely a big thing, at least for me. That is
Definitely agree. Yeah.
so when that type of feedback comes from a friend, how do you guys have that conversation with them? Like the feedback, like they were jealous, or like with Trinity, they called your dance spins were wrong, but reality is like you didn't say it, but you thought like, well, no, your dance spins are wrong. Like if it comes from like a good friend and you're getting that kind of pushback from them, do you have that conversation to try to save that friendship? Like, I guess what do you guys say to
I,
that friend?
for me,
that's
I wouldn't
right.
say my response would is verbal. If it's an activity like Trinity said, dance, for example, it would more so just come from me naturally doing what I do. If you're jealous and hating on, you comparing how we do things, then I mean, for me personally, there's not much of a choice for me to just keep doing what I do and outshining and doing great in it. And I feel like that's a bigger victory than um trying to combat with them as well. But the
Yeah,
conversations do need to be had, serious ones. If it gets too far, then a serious conversation does need to be had.
I agree.
Yeah, I think showing them like what you can do and just keep going, keep doing what you're doing, keep as I use dance as an example, keep leveling up in what you're doing. It kinda just shuts them up because then they're like, "Oh, well, I guess I should just be quiet now," you know?
Yeah. So if someone critiques you on like saying you're doing it bad, do you ever like show them how to do it correctly? Like, nope, this is how I do it, and do the technique. And what part didn't you like of that? You're
Exactly, yeah. Or
yeah,
sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, can you even do this?" So and then I'll be like, "Oh, yeah." And then just do
yeah,
whatever they were like, "Oh, could you do this?" And then they're like, "Oh, well, it wasn't
yeah.
good." You know?
Being in the acting industry, you think that makes bullying harder to deal with or easier?
I'd say that it depends on your mindset, honestly. Sometimes it does make it a little easier because when you're in the industry, you get, like, a lot of critiques and, like, they're not afraid to be like, "Oh, can we do it this way?" Or "That we that one wasn't really, like, the best take," or something like that. So, yeah, I would say that it kinda makes it a little bit easier, but it also, like, depends on your mindset.
Yeah. How about you, Jakari?
Yeah, I would say it depends on your mindset as well. I mean, I wouldn't yeah, I wouldn't well, yeah, it does kinda make it easier because obviously you're dealing with critique all the time. However, sometimes the critique from others who aren't, casting directors maybe, or people who wanna actually see better for you, that's where it gets a little, like, wishy-washy. But I would yeah, it definitely does depend on your mindset. If you're somebody who doesn't I wouldn't yeah, kind of like an optimist. If you're not one of those, or at least trying to find the good in it somehow, or trying to find a lesson from it somehow, then it might get to you worse than somebody who doesn't care as much.
Yeah, so getting criticism from a casting director or for somebody that you're working for, I take is a little bit more different because those people are trying to make you better and make your project better. Getting that same critique from maybe a classmate in school or a kid out in public, like, do you take that the same way or is it different? Because, one is trying to make your project better, the other is just some kid who doesn't know what you're doing.
Yeah, I would say it definitely is different. It also is how they say it. That plays like a
Okay.
really huge part in, what they're saying and how they say it. Some kid could come up to me and say, "Hey, I didn't like your delivery in that one. Like this could be one of my counterparts in a movie or a show. Hey, I didn't like how you do it that way. Can you do it this way?" Depending on their delivery, I'll probably be more than open to do it whatever their suggestion is. However, if they're coming off a little more harsh and like they're one of the directors, then that's where it's like, okay, wait,
Yeah.
that now that gets a little comes off a little more like an attack, I would say. But it's
Okay.
still
How about you, Terrence? What's your opinion on that?
So yes, I would say that being in the acting industry makes dealing with bullying a lot easier, in my opinion. Like my cousin said, most definitely it depends on your mindset. But I feel like there is a fine line between bullying and critiquing, right? So a critique on a performance is fine, constructive criticism, that's okay, especially if it's coming from somebody who is supposed to be doing that. So somebody who's helping you with the self tape, somebody like a casting director, a actual director, right? Somebody who actually has the power to help you get better and or, help you out with the role. Now, somebody just commenting on a performance, whether it's in person or online, like somebody who had absolutely nothing to do with the production, they saw the first 5 minutes, clicked off, like that type of thing. That's where we start to get over on the side of bullying. Like you're like, where is this really coming from? You know what I mean? So, but yeah, to answer your question, I do believe that being in the acting industry makes it easier to deal with certain things because I don't think people realize how vulnerable we have to get. Like there's
Yeah.
a lot of vulnerability in our performances in what we do.
yeah.
Honestly, after doing that so much, you get used to it.
What's your advice for young teens that are getting bullied? They can't seem to get their confidence up. They're not popular.
Right.
What's your advice about, especially starting with their mindset? How can they change their mindset? Now, it's just your opinion, of course. This is not like this is the gospel, you know, but what's your take and what's your thought?
My take is try to find something that you can work hard in and really feel amazing about. When you're not popular, I mean, I know how that can feel going in a setting where you're not well known or popular and really not having confidence. You really do have to find, a space where you can be a little well known and everybody around you does actually like you. And yeah, for confidence, really just find something that you can work hard for and work towards and feel amazing about, as you're working towards it. Some people might work out. Some people might try to get better at a sport. Some people might write out their feelings or, draw. There's many different forms of that type of thing that you can get good at and feel amazing and confident about and be like, hey, I'm really good at this. And yeah,
Yeah. So basically, find a community of people that have the same interest as you. I love it.
Actually, I was gonna say the thing about, like, finding a community of people who like what you like and can understand you, finding, like, those people to support you is it'll definitely help you.
I'll piggyback off of what Jakari was saying, because most definitely finding an activity to just put your all into is very important as far as building your confidence is concerned. Because, once you see yourself getting good at that thing, I mean, you get to a point where I'm not gonna say nobody can tell you anything, but it's like you start feeling yourself. You know what I mean? And that's a good thing. You're supposed to be confident in your work and things of that nature. Not to mention, especially if it's a social activity, you're going to be around like-minded individuals, people who also like the same things as you. So, like you were saying, Mr. Tim, you find that community. I would say a big thing if you want to try to make friends, right, and try to have people and build that community, courage is a big thing. Courage is a very big thing. A lot of people don't realize how far a smile will go. A couple words. Hey, how are you? What's your name? This is pretty cool, right? Just make conversation. You'll never know. You will never know who you get the chance to meet. And 9 times out of 10, people might be feeling the exact same way as you. Oh, I don't, I just want I'll just do my thing. I don't really need to talk to anybody or anything like that. But I can guarantee you're doing yourself a disservice. Because like I said, you never know who you're gonna meet. You could meet somebody doing that activity that you will be friends with for 10, 20, 30 years. You never know. Never know. You just gotta
Yeah.
put yourself out there.
I love that you said courage, Terrence, because for people who are listening and don't know this, Terrence, Trinity, and Jakari are all my young ambassadors for Cry Chop Bowling program. And the number one thing that I teach kids is to show courage, which, to be honest, is probably one of the hardest things you have to do.
So much
Whether
easier.
you public speaking could be hard, showing courage is the hardest thing to do, but you can learn how to do it even though you are not feeling it. There's
Yeah.
ways around it, but I love that you said showing courage.
To piggyback off of what you said about finding your community, for me personally, I found theater to be that community. And theater is like everybody's very supportive and you do all the same things, you feel very confident when you get very good at it. And you don't have to be the best. I mean, you could even have like a small role and make it the best role in the show. And personally, when I found theater, I also found an amazing group of friends. So yeah, find what you like and stay encouraged.
Trinity, I love that you said even though it's a small role,
Mm,
that's very important because people need to realize no matter what you're doing in life, whether you see it small or big, you got to give 100% at that role. And I
mm.
love Trinity that you said that because that is a huge point. Huge point. What is one message you want to send to the youth today on dealing with bullying, dealing with, jealousy is a part of bullying, depending on how, it's coming at you, dealing with the negative feedback, dealing with the online stuff, the online. What's what's your guys' advice to help kids to overcome that stuff?
I'd say that don't like, especially the online stuff, don't let it get to you because at the end of the day, it's just a person behind a screen who's just hating on you because they're jealous. So I'd say just think of it like that. It's just a person behind the screen that you don't know that has nothing better to do with their day, obviously, and
Mm.
are putting their creativity into making hate comments instead of using that creativity for something good and positive.
I would say there's this one movie. Well, this is being broadcasted to kids, so I don't think that they've watched this movie. There's a movie by the name Straight Outta Compton, and there's this one scene in the movie that I feel represents this very well, at least in certain cases, especially with online. I believe it went all publicity is good publicity. It may not feel good to see certain things, negative things, but at the end of the day, you know you have reach because they saw it. You saw it. You consumed it. Yeah, at the end of the day, if anything, find solace in that. They consumed your content. They watched it. they saw it. And I personally feel like a hate comment, a comment at all, because interactions go a long way on social media. I would much rather prefer somebody to interact with my post than to just never have seen it in the first place.
Yeah, because those negative interactions does help you out in the algorithms, whether it's good or bad. They do help.
Does boost.
They do help. Okay. This is the fun part of the podcast. Tell me, what do you guys got coming up? What are you working on that you're allowed to say? What shows were you in where we can find you guys at?
Well, actually, matter of fact, let me make sure I have it. I believe so. I recently did a movie towards the beginning of the year, and there's an Instagram account for the movie. It is called Disconnected, the movie. So if y'all want to go check that out, I'm not sure exactly when it will be coming out, but there is a social media page up. So go follow that on Instagram. I don't think we're on TikTok. I think we're strictly on Instagram. And
And
yeah,
if you're, so a lot of my audience is around people my age. So if you remember the show back in the early 2000s, Everybody Hates Chris, they made Comedy Central made an animated series about it with pretty much majority of the regular cast members.
yeah.
And Terrence, you played Drew.
Yes,
And I,
sir. I appreciate you for
yes,
mentioning that. I forgot. Yes.
yes, Everybody Hates Chris. Well, I love Chris Rock and I love Terry Crews, like one of my two favorite people. They're
Yeah.
just hilarious.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely love them. They are so great.
So yeah, I mean, I have Hot Wheels where the main character that was really fun. It was wow, that was awesome. Seeing the animation after all of that, it was fun doing it because I personally grew up on Hot Wheels a little bit and collecting them after being in. So I'm like, Mom, can I get that Hot Wheels? So also another Spidey project coming up. Very excited about that. However, no further words about that, but it's gonna be awesome. And after all of that voiceover work, I have a short film called One Last Shot that is coming out very soon. I filmed it last year. That was a very fun project with something I love, basketball. And it will be coming out to a few short film festivals, and that'll be very fun for everybody to see.
And Jakari, you also have one more thing that you do that we haven't talked about, your nonprofit.
Yes. So my nonprofit is Kid Kari Cares, and it's amazing. I love it because I get to show that I care for younger kids and the community around me. And I did partner with No Kid Hungry, and we did a dance thing, and we raised, I believe, 35 million, which is
Wow,
amazing for
that is amazing.
because we did a dance choreography to fundraise a bit, and we got to feed a lot of kids. I was really happy about that, and that's pretty much about it. I'm a hunger hero, and I love being that
That's
for
pretty much about it, man. You just raised 35 million. That is
No, yeah, like
amazing.
you just said,
Like, yeah, no big deal. It's
uh, uh,
everyday
uh.
thing.
That's amazing.
Steph Curry and Aisha Curry did happen. They did take part in it to help raise that money, which is amazing because Steph Curry is my favorite basketball player ever. So for him to help out me helping out the community, that was awesome.
Love it, love it. And Trinity, how about you?
Disney was interested in a show I wrote called Dead End Secrets, and it was about three best friends solving a mystery in their town. And yeah, it was really about the power of friendship and a little cute show about solving mysteries. And I'm currently working on a short film called Today Felt Like Before. And I'm just gonna say the log line, the summary of it, because I don't want to spoil anything. It's on an unusually quiet fall weekend. A young girl clings to the comfort of her closest friendship, even as the world around her begins to shift, leading to a moment that will quietly redefine everything she thought was real.
Awesome. How long does it take to write something like a short film? How long does that take?
That's funny because I wrote this in summer because I was like, "Ooh, I have this idea." Because I had this idea last year in fall, but it was kinda something, like, completely different. It was the same idea, but it was, like, different. And then I was like, "Oh my god, this is not working." So then I circled back to it in summer, and this was a few days before I went off to New York in the summer, so I wrote this in 3 days, made the, like, structure the concept of the story, and made the characters, and then I started doing the script. And I was really proud of myself because I did all of that in 3 days. So yes, it took 3 days to do this particular
It's amazing.
film.
That's
Awesome.
great. Terrence,
Yes,
if
sir.
people want to follow you on Instagram or if they want to see more of your movies, where can they find you?
Well, you can find me on social media. I have Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. I just recently started my Facebook. So you guys can go check that out if you want. It's the same across all platforms, at Little Gardenhigh, Gardenhigh, Little Gardenhigh. And then if you would like to see my work, I am on Netflix. That is where my movie is, Coffee and Cream, Ed Helms and Taraji P. Henson.
That was a great movie, by the way. That was funny. It's
Oh,
not for
thank you so
kids.
much.
Not for kids to watch,
No,
though. But
wait, yeah, you don't forget okay, kids
no,
don't watch that movie.
So the good news is majority of my audience are parents. So
Right.
you're good.
Okay. So y'all
You're
watch
good.
that by yourselves. You know what I mean? Watch that by yourselves. And then
You got to work with Ed Helms. Ed Helms is a great actor. He is hilarious.
I cannot tell you. Like, they came out with a blooper reel, right, on YouTube, on Netflix is a Joke YouTube page. And I'm not gonna lie, there were some great bloopers in there, but there are so many more. There's hours of bloopers. I had so much fun on that set because everybody was just so hilarious, especially Mr. Ed. He funny. Like, goodness gracious. I ain't gonna lie, I could barely keep a straight face at all. But yes. So, yeah, you can find me on Netflix, Paramount Plus, Comedy Central. Honestly, if you have IMDb, look me up on IMDb, and then you can find the whole blade. But yeah.
Awesome. Trinity, where can we follow you?
So I don't have an Instagram yet, but when I do, it'll just be at Trinity Fraser, I'm pretty sure.
All right. Perfect.
It'll be at Trinity Sienna Fraser.
And Jakari, people want to find you, follow you, see the work you've done. Where can they do that?
You can find me on Instagram at Jakari Fraser. You can see all my past projects, all the projects coming up. You can see what I do. I have a little bit of dancing there, some fun activities that I've been in. Yeah, and that's about where you can find me. That's the handle.
Perfect. Well, I want to thank you guys for coming on my podcast. I really enjoyed hearing about your perspectives of bullying that you guys are experiencing today. So thank you so much.
Of course.
Is there any last things you guys want to add before we end recording?
I just want to tell everyone that my movie that I did with Julia Roberts and Courtney B. Vance is on Netflix as of now.
Yes. What's the name of that movie?
So the movie that I did where I was playing Julia Roberts and Courtney B. Vance's son is called Ben is Back, and it's on Netflix. Ben is Back, and it's on Netflix.
Awesome. So be sure to...
Yeah, it talks about drug addiction, which is huge nowadays.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yes. So be sure to follow these young, talented actors and writers and see their work on the big screen. I love it. Thank you guys so much for coming on today.
Thank you
Thank you for having us.
That's what I said, Terrence.
Yes. I also want to thank you for being ambassadors for my nonprofit. And I'm looking forward to working with you guys some more. Thanks.
Of course.
Definitely.
Anytime we get a chance to inspire the youth or talk about real problems that are going on today that people usually don't talk about.
All right. You guys take care.
You as well.
Same.
Good one.
Peace.
Thank you. If this episode helped you, please share it with someone who might need to hear it. And to learn more about our nonprofit, Karate Chop Bullying, and the anti-bullying and confidence-building programs we offer youth, visit karatechopbullying.org. For podcast episodes and updates, go to breakingbullying.com or email us at any time at breakbullyinghere@gmail.com. I'm Tim Flynn. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time as we keep breaking the silence on bullying.